Thursday Night Football. We got a rematch of the AFC Championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs host the Baltimore Ravens. It's ring night. It's disrespectful. Why are you going to do that in front of them? But anyway, keys to victory for the defending champs, Kansas City Chiefs. You definitely got to get great play out of your linebackers. Your linebackers got to be on point. They got to be able to stop the run. The Ravens brought in Derrick Henry. You know Lamar Jackson's a threat to take off, but your linebackers have to be sound because they got to defend against the tight end threats and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is a nice little slot receiver they picked up in the draft last year out of BC. And you also got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely at tight end. Those two guys are definitely going to be problems. They'll be problems for a lot of teams. But if anybody's got the linebacking depth to deal with it, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and the linebackers got to play well. On the offensive side of the football, mix it up. Don't give them too much run. Don't give them too much pass. Mix it up a little bit. Keep them on their toes. You don't want that Baltimore defense to get locked into anything specific that you're doing. You want to keep them active. You want to keep them guessing. You want to keep them on their toes. Baltimore will get after you if you don't. The Kansas City Chiefs have elite level speed and in their first round selection, Xavier Worthy, and they also have a really great underneath threat in Rashee Rice, who played stellar football last year in his rookie year. You coupling that with the best tight end in the game right now, and they brought a guy back from the Super Bowl win in Juju Smith-Schuster. So definitely keep them guessing. 15 is a master at taking what the defense gives them and making the impossible look possible. So those are my keys for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Baltimore Ravens. What you want to do offensively is establish the run. You should have did that in the AFC Championship game, but you didn't. Here's your chance to do it over. Run the football. Hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. Hand the ball off to Justice Hill. Throw the ball to these guys out of the backfield. Use that short passing game as an extension to your run. But you want to win up front. You kick Daniel Falele inside to guard. You've got one of the best at center in Tyler Linderbaum, and I'm high on Andrew Voorhees coming out of USC. He was one of my favorites at the guard position coming out in 22. Tore his ACL at the combine, and he's getting that opportunity now to 2023, excuse me, he missed last year. So he's getting his opportunity now to really make it happen. So 100%, you want to give him that shot and let them and try to win up front. Get a push up front, run the football. Then you can start throwing it down the field when you get some nosy eyes in the backfield. My impact players, the key guys. First off, the key guy for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be Travis Kelce, obviously. This is new for a lot of these guys. Xavier Worthy's a rookie. Rashee Rice is in his second year. Juju hasn't really been healthy. This offensive line is good. It's going to give you an opportunity. But Travis Kelce sets the tone. I look for them to get to Kelce early and often, get him involved, and that's going to open things up for not only the run game, but it's going to open it up for your deep shots down the field. For the Baltimore Ravens, my key player is Justin Madubuike. He has got to be disruptive. You want to be able to get to Patrick Mahomes. You also got to be able to get in that backfield and stop a guy like Isaiah Pacheco, who runs extremely hard, and a guy like Carson Steele, who's a big dude, 6 foot, 6'1", 230 plus pounds, and these are some angry runners. So you want to be disruptive. You want to provide that interior pressure against Patrick Mahomes. Now, Justin Madubuike signed a big deal. He signed a big contract. It's time for you to show and prove, baby. So let's get it. Let's see what it is. And my score prediction, the Chiefs don't really care about the regular season. I look for the Ravens to want to avenge that loss. However, I like what Kansas City did from a weapon standpoint. I'm going to go 27-17 Chiefs. I feel like that's a big scoring number, but I just think the ability of the Chiefs to play complementary football on the offensive side of the ball is just amazing. Like they've got it all. They've got a reliable target in Kelsey. They got a deep threat in Xavier Worthy. They got the intermediate guy in Juju that just knows how to get open, and you got your all-purpose Swiss Army knife at wide receiver in Rashee Rice. That offensive line is much improved. Jawan Taylor's coming into his second year with the Chiefs. He played right tackle for them last year. They drafted the young man at left tackle. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, and you're still returning the best interior line in the NFL. So those are my impact guys. That's my score prediction, and I'm looking forward to seeing a great game, baby. Football is back. Let's get it.
What's up, man? It's your boy JMIK. We're on the eve of NFL football. I'm coming here to talk to you about the Thursday night game between the Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. The first thing I'm going to talk about is one key to victory for each team. For me, Baltimore has to kind of manage the atmosphere of going into a ring ceremony. The Lions last year did a good job of kind of managing the atmosphere and getting out with a victory. But that's one of the main things for me is kind of just controlling your energy, going in there. You have a goal to win the game. Winning this game is not going to change the fact that they lost the AFC Championship game the year before. But it can start their season off in the right direction. And also, I feel as if they need to be committed to the run game. If you remember the AFC Championship game in Baltimore the year before, they didn't run the ball as much as they could have. I think that hindered them in, winning that ball game. For the Kansas City Chiefs, for them, what I have is pretty simple. When I look at their defense, the defense has a lot of good players on it. Spags is a great defensive coordinator. To me, they have to find ways to contain Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, and to make the other guys beat them. In terms of the other guys, I'm talking about Aguilar, I'm talking about Bateman. Those guys in terms of receivers. That's what they would need to do to secure the victory in my point of view. Next, I'm gonna talk about one impact player from each team. I'm gonna talk about Baltimore first. I'm gonna go Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton was a very good safety last year. He was one of the best safeties in the league last year. And the Baltimore defense is going to need that again. With the Baltimore defense losing their defensive coordinator going up to Seattle to be the head coach up there, and they also lost a couple other defensive coaches as well. One of the defensive coaches is the DC down in Miami. Kyle Hamilton is going to be important because obviously, like they have, the Chiefs have, Kelsey. And Kelsey is one of the best tight ends in the league. He is the best tight end in the league. He's going to be able to help cover Kelsey, and he's also going to help in different coverage and different packages that they're going to run, and different responsibilities because Kyle can, Kyle can do a lot of different things, all over the field. So to me, he's one of the most important players. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm looking at Chris Jones, man. Like Chris Jones has the ability just to create havoc on the defensive side of the ball, for any offense, and especially since the Baltimore Ravens have a little bit of a different offensive line than they did last year. One of their tackles, one of their guards went up to the Jets, so they have a lot of new pieces. For me, like the Baltimore defense, the Baltimore offensive line is going to have to be able to block Chris Jones. Chris Jones can be very disruptive. Especially rushing the passer. So I just think that Chris Jones has a difference to wreck the game, and that's just something that Chris Jones can always do. And then the next time I talk about sides of the ball. So offensively, like with KC, we all know they got the best quarterback in the league. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the league. And they also have Isaiah Pacheco, who is a dynamite running back, whose running style is not. There aren't a lot of backs in the league that have his running style. So I really like him as a running back. And even at wideouts, they have Rashee Rice and they drafted Xavier Worthy. Those are two guys, and they're also bringing back Juju Smith-Schuster, who got released from the Patriots. He's in the rotation. They got a bunch of guys that are in the rotation. And Andy Reid has a way of using different kinds of wide receivers in different ways. So I also look at that from the Baltimore offensive perspective. For me, it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, like, Lamar Jackson was the MVP of the league last year. He didn't have a great outing in the AFC Championship game. He has a chance to kind of, I don't say correct it, because I mean, he can't get that game back. But I mean, he has a chance to show the league this year. Like, yeah, like, I mean, the KC defense really, stopped our offense last year. And so he's got a chance to actually show and prove that, hey, like, I can go against Spags and that we can be successful. They also signed Derrick Henry. So I mean, like, Derrick Henry running the ball is going to be a big part of their offense this year. And so I mean, he's going to really impact the game. And also, if Mark Andrews coming back from injury, he's going to be 100%. Mark Andrews is a top 3 to 4 tight end in this league. So I expect Mark Andrews to get opens at times, and I mean, that's kind of Lamar's security blanket. And then he also has Zay Flowers, who's going into his second year, who's going to be a really good receiver. I mean, I was high on the kid coming out of BC. I'm still high on him right now. So I mean, I think he can impact the game just the same. And then you also have Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. Like I said earlier in this video, they're going to have to get something out of them two guys, because I just think throughout the season, teams are going to try to, bracket either Andrews or I don't think they're going to bracket Zay, but try to bracket Andrews and try to cover up Zay, and they're going to need those guys to make plays. Going to the defensive side of the ball, Baltimore had one of the better defenses in the league. Arguably they have the best linebacker in the league in Roquan. And they also have a D tackle, Matabuke, who had over 10 sacks last year. So these are going to be important parts of their defense. And then they also have Kyle Hamilton, who, like I said earlier, I expect him to have a big season. I view him as a top 4 to 5 safety in the league, and I expect him to have even more impact on the game. So Baltimore has impact players at all 3 levels of their defense. When I go over to KC, I kind of look at, kind of the same kind of way. They have Chris Jones on the line. I mean, Chris Jones is a very disruptive player. He's going to stamp his impact on the game. And I just expect him to do that. The linebacking core for the Chiefs is very good. They are quick to the ball. And so, I expect them to make an impact. And then, in their secondary, they also have very impactful players. And so, like, in this particular game, I just expect for the secondary to be able to cover the wide receivers of the Ravens. They might have an issue with Zay Flowers here and there, but I think for the most part they're going to do a good job. And I just think Spags is going to spin the dial enough to keep Lamar Jackson, kind of not knowing what's going to come next. And then how I have the game turn out, I have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Baltimore Ravens 27-20. It's going to be a pretty close game. I think it's going to be a little bit high scoring, more high scoring than the AFC Championship game. It's the first game of the season, and that's just how I see it. So enjoy football, people, because football is officially back. Peace.